With over 3 decades of experience in medicine and a passion for business, he's as much a medical doctor as an entrepreneur. But bold ideas come with big challenges and sometimes big failures. So how does he stay the course? My guest is Dr. Michael Banbury. I'm Archibald Gordon. This is Profile. Dr. Michael Banbury, welcome to Profile.
Thank you. Happy to be here.
So you are the co-founder of the First Rock Group.
Correct.
The chairman, the head rather, of the Medical Associates Hospital.
The Chief Executive Officer.
Chief Executive Officer, and you left and came back to that role.
Correct.
You have private practice.
Correct.
You're involved in a range of different kinds of organizations. I cannot even list them without feeling exhausted. Correct. How do you make the time?
Boy, I'm a workaholic, so I spend most of my days are 12-hour days, you know. So I enjoy working, so it's not a problem really. When I'm busy, I'm the happiest.
When you're busy, you're the happiest.
Yes.
And I have to think part of that is linked to just your history, how you grew up, and the sort of history you had with your mother, as well as your father. Right. Tell us about your parents. Oh,
my parents were married. My parents lived in St. Thomas, where my father worked on a sugar estate, somewhere where he worked for 47 years.
Duckenfield.
Sugar estate is called Jamaica Sugar Estates. My mother worked in the post office in Golden Grove, which is the adjoining district. And they met and they got married. I think it was in 1934, I think so. And that marriage produced 4 children, of which I'm the youngest. And that's basically it.
And he worked a lot.
He had a very, very good work ethic. He was up very, very early. He was like up at 5 o'clock in the morning, and he would go to work very early, come home and very regimental. At midday, would have lunch, and then he would rest for about an hour or so and go back to work until in the afternoon. Late afternoon, probably early evening. So I really admired his work ethic. I think maybe that's where I got that from, you know, so his work ethic.
And your parents wanted a lot for you.
Yes.
And wanted your siblings as well to have a good education.
Correct.
So they sent you off to Kingston when you were really, really young. Yes. 5 years old, you said.
Yes. My father always thought that the best investment he could make in his children was to give them a good education. But he was reluctant. Both my parents were reluctant to send us to school in a primary school type setting in Duckenfield or in Golden Grove. So we were shipped off to Kingston to go to private school. We were shipped off between ages 5 and 6. Why I said between ages 5 and 6 is because I went at 6, but my siblings went at age 5. So they boarded with families in Kingston and attended school.
So this was for you specifically, Meadowbrook Prep?
Yes.
Then sometime at Meadowbrook High as well as Morant Bay High?
Correct. My brother went to Meadowbrook as well. My sister went to St. Hugh's High. But we all went back to Morant Bay High for a period.
No.
All of us, all 4 of us.
And this built a sort of, created the path for you to go on to do medicine. But why medicine?
Well, that's a very interesting question. When I was age 5, I received as a Christmas gift what we could call a doctor's kit, a plastic stethoscope and etc. And from then on, I always knew that I wanted to become a doctor. So my entire career, my entire school was geared towards that goal. And there were other doctors there was a doctor that used to live beside us in St. Thomas, and I always admired him. Plus, there was another doctor who worked in my neck of the woods twice a week, and he used to drive a lot of very fast cars and very flashy cars, and I used to sit and watch him on those days when he would swift by, go back and forth. So I've always wanted to be a doctor.
That contributed not just to you wanting to be a doctor, but your love for cars. And
yes, I love cars.
We'll get to that a little later on, because you have a series of different kinds of hobbies, and I want to talk about that. But when you decided you were going to do medicine, and you graduated from the University of the West Indies, your path was not in the public sector. You did decide you wanted to do private sector work.
Right. I spent a short time in the public sector, but I had a decision to make whether I was going to stay in academic medicine at the university or go into private practice. At the time, I was married, had a young family, and I thought going into private practice was a better way to, a better path to take. In addition to that, I could more focus on realizing my business aspirations if I was and took that path. As if I stayed in an academic setting, it would be difficult for me to branch off into business.
And you always had a business bug, by the way.
Always.
What attracted you to business?
I don't know where that came from. I don't know where the business desire to be in business came from, but I've always had that desire to create some type of business and see it become successful.
So much so that not only were you doing that job, as in the job in medicine, sometime in the public sector, but largely in the private sector.
Correct.
But you are also pursuing business ventures, including one of your first business ventures, which was an apartment complex.
Yes.
Now,
yes.
Walk me through that kind of decision making. How the two things add up? How you decided you wanted to do medicine, but also want to build an apartment complex?
Well, I acquired this piece of land at the corner of Constant Spring Road and Central Avenue, right beside Queens, and I decided to build an apartment complex there. So I built an apartment complex with 29 units. At that time in Jamaica, the economy was very unstable. Interest rates were very, very high. So I didn't make as much money as I've planned to make, I was in a break-even position, but the experience was very good. I enjoyed it. I think it taught me a lot, so I didn't mind it at all.
Did you think it was a wrong decision?
No, it was a correct decision. But maybe I was a little bit inexperienced. I should have been more experienced, to undertake such a project of that magnitude. But it turned out okay in the end.
No, that's one of the first business ventures that you did,
right.
and not the only one.
No.
But I want to talk about one of the major ones in our next segment, but we have to go to the break, and this is the airline. Because a lot of people might not remember that apart from the experience with Medical Associates Hospital and the different kinds of projects, one of your major projects was the airline. So that's what we're going to be talking about when Profile returns right after the break. Big moves also result in big challenges, and we'll talk about those when Profile returns.